have the wonderful Dr. Darreon here with me, who is going to share their story of how they overcame the EPPP and now are living their best life as a licensed clinical psychologist. So, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't thank you enough for being here and taking the time out of your day to talk about your experience.
Oh, Dr. Erica, it is a pleasure to be here with you and to be solicited to do this when I found you, of course, and you helped get me over the hump and over the hill. So I'm delighted to do it. And thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you. So let's hop right into it then. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself, like maybe when you graduated, where you went, and the type of population you like to work with.
Indeed. Well, I'm coming from historically black college and university, Tennessee State University in the capital of Tennessee, Nashville, that is. And so that's where I earned the master's and the PhD in counseling psychology, of course, an APA accredited doctoral program. And just one of those interesting to note, I appreciate one of the most great things is on my OSU website is having that TSU is one of the only two HBCUs to house an APA accredited program. And so with that, I'm just very thankful to now be at The Ohio State University in my fourth year as a now fully licensed independent clinical psychologist with your help, of course. And so just that's kind of where we stand right now and trying to brand myself throughout the university and helping the students daily from that perspective as the only black and descent person on the doctoral level and licensed and trained at one of the largest PWIs and university counseling trainer centers in the country. So with that no pressure, but
Right.
no tall order. So I invite it every day and just, hey, look forward to the work and just thankful to and grateful to be in and humbled mostly to be at this place.
Wow, that is wonderful to see you continue your career, breaking barriers, breaking through. It's wonderful to see that. So tell us a little bit about prior to seeking coaching with me. Can you talk a little bit about what your experience was like with the whole process of preparing for it?
You knew it was always to come, but getting here to Ohio, being uprooted from being in Nashville, Tennessee over a decade with my beloved family and I, and them helping me just kind of walk down this journey the highs and lows, the good, the bad, the ugly of it. And so it was time to begin studying. So after I kind of picked my face up off the ground from finishing dissertation, finishing my pre-doctoral internship at the Wright State University School of Professional Psychology in Dayton, Ohio, which is what, of course, brought us to Ohio. It's just one of those things. I took a deep dive, but I will say I never felt that I had much direction. Kind of
Mhm.
started with just a couple, two, three, a few people, excuse me, who just started giving me and gifting me and throwing me practice exams. And that didn't kind of start until I was ending the pre-doctoral internship at SOPP at Wright State. And so just kind of starting to look at that. But then I knew, of course, I've got to start looking at some type of practice program, but still not really having that direction. It's just not having many before me at all who have passed it. A lot of my people, the few handful or two that I had were more of the older psychologists, and that was a blessing. But of course, their lot was different. They give you all the stories about paper scoring, waiting on the scores to come in. And so I'm like, oh, they can't really help me as much. So I just felt like I was in the dark and in the blind and was not a part of that high 80 something percent that are called first timers with the EPPP. So I'm at a point now where I'm not ashamed to say it
Mhm.
anymore. Don't know how ashamed I was in the beginning, but I'll eat my humble pie and say ashamed enough internally because I'm like, I've come this far through all of those barriers and didn't get it. And so just trying to pick my face up off the ground again and then just going at it again. And then I ultimately found you.
Mhm. Wonderful. And I'm so glad you did. Can you tell me, you know, It sounds like you were like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta get this done," and you had, you have a family, you have other things, right? So when you finally decided to reach out and you started to go with my coaching approach, what do you think are some of the top things that were most helpful
Mhm.
about my approach that helped you to ultimately be able to make it happen?
I think one of the mainstream words that kept surfacing for me was practicality,
Mm,
and just how practical, how deep and in depth, kind of with our clients, that you would tell me something so simple, but I would be Panera is my spot. I would be in there and I would be studying, of course, as one of those persons who's not a first timer, and I would be deepening a concept, deepening something, and then I would just hear your voice. I mean, and I can't really just come up with some of the exact words that you would say, and I didn't pull my notes, from our meetings before this meeting, but I would hear your voice say something, and it would be something so simple, and it would just say, "Stop, Darreon," and just do that, what she said. That simple thing stops overstudying that particular section. You kind of got that. Don't touch ethics again. Duh. You got that. You can do that. So now direct your attention to these other 3, 4, 5, 6 areas, and then now this is how we're gonna get you from, proficient or competent enough in this area. So now you're down to two areas, and now you're down to one area where you're not feeling as weak, at all in any one particular area. And then still, I just think that while I probably, no matter how many times that I would have potentially taken it, I would have never blown it out the water like one such as yourself. But I do think in just barely still, I ain't no shame in my game. And just barely still getting over the hump, I think it was those practical, simplistic pieces, that caused me to really not go buy another practice module, company, because I remember you said don't do that, like I'm not gonna work with you anymore if you go buy another program. And so no, no, I people, she didn't do that to me though, but
I might
but
have though. I think I may have said
I
that to
think you
somebody at some
did.
point.
I think, and so lastly, there, before I shut up and you jump back in, I think, just thinking of like those very simple, because I'm often told, like, simplify it. You go too deep in just transcending across a lot of things in my life, and so you helping me to reel it back, dial it back, and just lowest common denominator, I think, is what finally got us to this place.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Like, and I needed practicality when I was going through this because I felt so overwhelmed by the whole process and just feeling like I didn't know where to start, like staring at the books and thinking, how is all that going to get in my brain? Oh, yeah. So I really strive to make the program logical, practical, and thorough so that you can, crush this thing and go on with your life the way that you are. Yes, it's wonderful. So, if someone is looking at this test and they're where you were, maybe they've taken it before, maybe they're feeling a little defeated, or maybe they've never taken it, but they're considering looking into coaching with me, what would you tell them?
I would say, just like we use our words. We use our words in the field so often, comorbidity. So I would say in this regard, try it, in terms of, if you're gonna, because a lot of people are probably going to go through some testing practice module, that's what they do. They have empirically validated, studies and surveys, and this is a great company. But I think going with that voice, such as you, Dr. Erica, and what you do, and simplifying things and keeping it common like you do, I think that simultaneous working like that, if I had have known that, let's just say autumn 2019, when I
Mm,
was just starting after a long day's work, first semester, first job, which is still my career, job now at the Ohio State. If I'd have known that then before I purchased the first module, I think I would have begun to work the modules, but at the same time do the coaching. If I had have, known better and know what I know now, but I'm just, I'll say this lastly here. I'm one of those persons who just had to go through and learn things in life the hard way. So I, kind of take it on the chin that even though this grown person cried literally,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
cried literally, we still made it through. But if I had of, lastly, if I'd have known then what I know now, that would be some advice to do that, from a simultaneous standpoint.
Yes, to do it as soon as possible. And that's really one of my dreams is to get this system into the hands of as many people as possible from the beginning, so they have the support. Because what you said earlier about like just feeling kind of lost and not knowing where to start and having, these amazing senior seasoned colleagues around you who are supporting you so much, but it feels like on everything but the EPPP, right? Because it's so far
Hmm.
in the background for them that
Hmm.
they maybe weren't able to support you. And
And,
some
and
people
to
are
and to
in the same situation.
Yeah, and to your point there, I remember asking a colleague just two, three, four doors down. She gave me some advice. She gave me some materials, but I remember asking her one day about some help, and I remember that like deflated answer she gave me. It was nothing punitive toward me. It was that deflated answer of, I'm sorry, dude. I can't even muster up anything to give you because it's done and to bed for me. And, we're never playing around with terms like trauma in this regard. But the one time that I would tongue in cheek, she's like, hey, dude, I'm done with the trauma. And here, take this book.
And
you
good
know.
luck, right?
Yeah, and so to not to belabor it, but to your point there, yes.
Absolutely. So to finish this off, again, the whole reason why we put ourselves through all of this is because we want to have a beautiful life and career after. So since it's been a little over a year since you have been licensed, what is something both professionally as well as personally that you've been able to enjoy now that you no longer have all this hanging over your head?
Hmm. Well, Dr. Erica, I'll just say this. I'll speak to the goodness of God first in just my family being behind me, and just not giving up, not allowing me to give up, just knowing now my senior, junior, named after me, just him just being able to say that every time I came downstairs at 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 10 p.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 3 a.m. to grab the next snack out of the kitchen in the middle of the night just to look over and see you up studying and not giving up even after. So that those are just examples. And then lastly here on that, tomorrow, uh October 10th, 2022, I'll start and transfer into the new embedded psychologist position. Multicultural Center at The Ohio State has never had an embedded psychologist within it. And so they asked and I accepted. So tomorrow I'll start day one in that role as the embedded psychologist to kind of reach a wider approach, more races, ethnicities, demographics, majors of students from the undergrad to the graduate level and top down, and of course, collaborate with the administration to create a greater culture of care, to make a more positive and high impact at the institutions.
Wow. That's oh my God. Congratulations. Congratulations. Like that is what I'm talking about. Like just being able to continue initiatives, expand things, and because of who you are as a man of color, you can lead that initiative and bring so much to it just for being who you are and having the experiences that you have and then with the professional license